Hey everybody, it's Steve here, and welcome back to Metroid. Now that we have acquired, gosh, what we picked up in the last video, the bombs, we're moving on now. Our next item that we're going to be heading for is the ice beam. It's a nifty little item that allows you to freeze your enemies, obviously. It's not too far from here. We shouldn't have too much trouble getting to it. After we get the ice beam, then from there our next order of business will be to head into another area of the game called Norfair for two more spiffy items I'm going to want to get before I go any farther with Brinstar. Some of these enemies are just so plain looking and so generic. Just these little thin green things that are flying around, look like little pieces of like corn. We've obviously been here before. This is where that energy tank was. So like I said before, you're gonna be doing a lot of backtracking, a lot of wrapping around. One thing I mentioned in the last video about you know, the space pirates being the enemies in this game, but they never appear. I mean, you never see any space pirates. It reminds me a lot of what you're gonna want to do. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. You're gonna want to bomb through the floor here and just fall straight through. Kind of a shortcut to get to the ice beam. There's all kinds of these in the game. You're gonna bomb through walls and floors and shoot up through ceilings in order to provide shortcuts to your next destination without going, all the way around and all over the place. Anyway, about the space pirates, not actually appearing in the game, it reminds me a lot of like Sauron in Lord of the Rings, and who is the main villain who never appears in the book at all. He's mentioned, he's described, but he never actually appears. And I think that's, I don't know, a lot more terrifying than actually seeing the villain, seeing the enemy. Just to hear about them, to know what they're up to, and to know what they're all about, but to never actually, physically see them. I have just realized, of course, as I've been talking, that I am one missile too short. See, this is what I was talking about in the video, the first one. Always make sure you've got 5 missiles on you at all times, because you're going to end up at one of those red doors, and you're not going to have enough missiles to open it. Ah, there it is, though. So that helps. But so I didn't follow my own advice, basically, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I guess I was just rambling about having a main villain not actually ever appear, and there's something that's kind of creepy about that. Not to try and compare space pirates to Sauron, but it's kind of the same concept. You know what these guys are up against. You know that they're trying to multiply Metroids in an attempt to wipe out entire civilizations and entire planets. So you know what they're up to, but you never actually see them. Metroids, on the other hand, you will see, but not till the end of the game. So as you can see now, we've got the ice beam. It allows you to freeze enemies. If you hit them once, it freezes them. If you hit them again, it unfreezes them. And it keeps going in that pattern: freeze, unfreeze, freeze, unfreeze, back and forth, until finally they like explode into their little chunks. So we're gonna head back exactly the way that we came down here, back up through this floor. You're gonna want to time your jump here really just right, because once you shoot a block away, it reappears a few seconds later. But the trick is right there, to make sure that you're up above where the block's going to reappear, so that it basically reappears under your feet. Ice beam makes life, well, I was about to say it makes life easier. as I fall into the lava or whatever. It does make life easier. It kind of really does stop enemies right in their tracks, basically. And you can also use enemies as platforms. You know, you can freeze it. If you're trying to get up someplace high, you can freeze an enemy and then stand on top of them in order to access a higher area. There's a certain energy tank that can be acquired that way. We'll definitely be picking that up sometime in the future. Like I said, I'm going to try and get all the items, all the upgrades, all the missile packs, with the exception of one maybe. But I'll still do my best to get it. So it's time to head to Norfair for a little change of scenery, a little change in music, and just a little change in everything. It definitely has each of the areas in this game have a different feel to them. Norfair is a bit more unsettling than Brinstar is. It's definitely more maze-like to me. I find when I was talking about in the last video about not wanting to spend, you feel the feeling of not wanting to spend much time in this world if you were actually there. Norfair would kind of be that for me. It's not an area that you really want to spend too much time in. These little machines that spit out the enemies repeatedly is always a good place for grinding. Anytime that you need that you're low on either missiles or energy, it's kind of boring, it's kind of time consuming to stand there and repeatedly shoot these creatures as they come out of these little whatever you want to call them. But it's definitely a lifesaver in that you can just stand there and refill your energy and your missiles. You can be saved from like the brink of death, basically. Anytime I have to do that as I'm playing through here, I'm going to try and do it off screen. I don't want to I don't want to force people to watch me stand there for like a half hour just, shooting enemies in order to gain energy and missiles. Anyway, this is Norfair, and there's two items that I'm thinking of right off the bat that I really want to get my hands on. The first would be the high jump boots. They are obviously boots for Samus. They upgrade you to be able to jump higher, and who doesn't want to do that? Jumping higher obviously is going to help us out a lot. So that's probably going to be the first item I'm going to go after here. These kind of partitions that are in your way, you can either shoot through them. I've done this before. Oh gosh, as I keep falling. I've got to admit, I do have a hard time controlling Samus's jumps. If you just jump straight up, it's almost easier to me than when you spin into a ball. If you push the control pad left or right and jump, she spins into a ball. And I find that it's a lot harder to really control where she's going when you do that. Once we get another certain item that I won't mention just yet, I find that her jumps become even more difficult to control. Once again, we bomb through the floor to kind of speed things up a bit as far as getting to our objective. Alright, and it's time to acquire the high jump boots. It's just a matter of jumping across these platforms. I've got my 5 missiles, perfect. And there they are. So Samus is now able to jump really high. We're going to take a little, rather than going back out through the way we came, we're going to take a little detour through this tunnel. We're going to bomb through the wall. This area you're only going to be able to use, you're only be able to get through when you've got the ice beam. You're going to have to freeze these enemies and do what I was just discussing a little while ago, using them as like a stepping stone to get over these high walls. Because even with the high jump boots, you're not going to be able to jump over those walls without a little extra height. These creatures down in the water below, you can also freeze them in order to get back up when you foolishly fall, like I just did. And we're going to leave it at that for now. We'll see you next time for Metroid Part 3.